Origin. This weekend we talked about John chapter 3 verses 22 through 26, and there was a response question that was tied to this, which asked, what steals your joy? How do you have joy during these joy-killing times? Theodore Roosevelt once said that comparison is the thief of joy. For a while I had that as my screensaver because I was really struggling with this comparison game of all these Instagram-worthy pictures and posts that I was scrolling through on my newsfeed. And comparison says that, oh, I have this, or they have this and I don't have this, or they got this job and I didn't, or they got to travel to this place and I don't. It's this constant weighing of yourself against other people. Whereas jealousy points to them and says, oh my goodness, they have so many followers, or they are doing this really cool thing and I wish I could do it. It's always pointing toward them and focusing on what they have. This is the exact track that some followers of John are trying to trap him in. They bring attention to this in verse 25. It says, a discussion rose up between John's disciples and a Jew over purification. And they came to John and said, Rabbi, which means teacher, he who was with you across the Jordan, to whom you bore witness, the one that you said was the Lamb of God, look, he's baptizing and everyone is going to follow him. John says, a person cannot receive one thing unless it is given to him from heaven. John recognizes that it is about God as the giver of gifts. He is the one who gives people and gets glory for those things. John understood that his purpose in life was to point people to Jesus, and that brought him great joy. My life truly didn't change until I realized that my life was about pointing people to Jesus. After all, he saved me, and I couldn't save myself for anything. But first, I had to surrender every single thing to Jesus. My career, my future career, my education, my family, my relationships, my friends, even my daily routine. But it was then that I began to experience God's grace in every aspect of my life, which brought a joy that I have never experienced before in my life. No matter how great I did in school, no matter who paid attention to me, no matter how many friends or followers I had, this was the joy that only Jesus brought. There's only one like him. So I want to ask you today, what do you need to surrender to God? Maybe you need to write a list of these things that you need to surrender to God, or that you're having really hard time struggling to give over to God. Maybe you need to pray through the list and ask God to help you to surrender those things to him. As you learn more about God, you learn that he is trustworthy and that he is a good God and he has good plans for you. So I want to challenge you with that this week.